The mayor now, he has history. He has history in other cities that he's worked for, and they all say the same thing. This is the same pattern and same thing that he's done in other departments or
There's
other
some
cities.
questionable things that were done in Floresville. He was the EDC in Floresville. He resigned from said position and then suddenly became the mayor at Balcones Heights. Welcome back, watchers, viewers, listeners. I'm your host, Tyler Owen.
And Clinton McNear.
How was the old drive from Forney to Austin?
It wasn't bad. Usually about 2 hours, 55 minutes is about 3:10 this morning.
Ain't bad at all.
Not too bad.
How's everything going with you?
All good in the hood. All good in the hood. We have H.R. 82, Social Security Fairness Act.
HR stands for House
Resolution 82.
Yes. Yep.
Passed out of the House. It's in the Senate. Mm-hmm. So anybody watching, listening, please contact your senator. We have a lot of people that aren't in Texas. Please figure out who your senator is, senators are, and ask them to pass H.R. 82 out of the Senate.
Dive into just a surface of what that bill talks about and discusses and what the spirit behind it.
Yeah, so it's kind of the windfall elimination. Police, fire, teachers that pay into Social Security. You don't get all of your Social Security when you retire because you had a pension. Oh. Everyone else gets their full Social Security upon retirement. Police, fire, and teachers do not. I think there's some others included in that, but police, fire, and teachers do not. And this would stop the steal. It would allow us to get the full Social Security that we are owed, deserved, that it's been way overdue for decades. Passed out of the House with a huge amount, like 300 co-sponsors, and it passed like 327 to 70 or something.
Wow.
It's now in the Senate. We're hearing a lot of senators are not for it, and we need to flip that. They need to support the police, and a lot of them want to politic that they love the police and back the blue, and now it's time to put your money where your mouth is.
Well, they damn sure want endorsements. Yep. That's for damn sure.
Pass H.R. 82.
Well, you know what's interesting? When you were at Garland, did you pay? When I was at Marshall, I didn't pay Social Security, and so one of the benefits when I left was, I was one of the Harrison County. I was able to pay. They took out Social Security, which long term benefits of that. Did y'all pay Social Security?
No, but military and all the jobs I got fired from as a kid and working here now and. Yeah, there's a lot of people get it one way or another.
But y'all
part-time jobs, not at Garland, no. But like talking to my dad the other day and retired, and their money's tight, and he said, "Yeah, it affects me every month."
Yeah. Hell, if we got people that are that didn't work, I never understood that. Speaking of, we're coming up to the income tax season. I never understood how people who don't work get excited about an income tax refund. If you didn't pay any taxes, how the hell are you getting an income tax refund?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to solve the world's problems here on Blue Grit, but we do got a special guest on today. It's going to cuss and discuss.
Special.
Field representative for the San Antonio area, Joey Sepulveda. Welcome back, man.
Thanks for
You're
having
looking
me.
good.
Appreciate that.
How's everything going with you?
Everything's going good. I have my trials and tribulations in my region, but I think every field rep has those in their regions. It's like
the plague. I think that it start like Layton a couple months ago had Texas City and still battling that, and then it just kind of certain fires and flares ups, and that's our job to put them out.
Headed to Texas City in about 2 hours.
Headed to Texas City in a couple hours. Clint's going to go have dinner with the mayor down there and the police chief. So we don't know how his employment's going to work out after that, but we're going to wait and see. But yeah, for those who don't know, Joey Sepulveda is the San Antonio field rep, retired Balcones Heights police sergeant.
Oh, did you hear how he said that?
Hey, I'm getting Central Texilized, baby. Joe Tovar. I said something the other day, and he had this. I was in front of certain people at New Braunfels golf tournament. And so, anyway, he stopped me.
Wait. How did you say it before? Before you got corrected.
New Brownsville, I think. Yeah. And then I can't remember how the hell I screwed up Atascosa. It was jacked up. And that's your area, Atascosa. Yeah. But yeah, for those that don't know you, Joey was a retired Balcones Heights police sergeant and was on the board. And then just certain things in life happen, and we are now blessed to have you as a field rep. And you wanted to come on and discuss bad tyrant leadership type situations at Balcones Heights with the mayor there, and then you're doing a regional POA leadership. And man, it's always good, for you guys to come on and get you guys highlighted. So welcome back.
Appreciate it. I think these opportunities that we have as field reps is good.
Yeah.
Let people know exactly what we do and what we're doing out there in our regions and how we're helping our members.
Yeah, for sure.
And for the world to get to see the prettiest field rep we got.
Yes.
I don't know about all that, but okay.
Oh, gosh.
I ain't no rip, but okay.
Oh, I see what you did there. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I was going to say he's married to Beth. So.
Yes.
That's true. Well, I think it's good to lay the foundation. You being a prior Balcones Heights president, you walking, what those guys are going through. Lay the foundation of kind of speaking of Balcones Heights and talking about the relationship that the POA had with the mayor, and then we'll kind of dive into what this new mayor is doing and the leadership style he's got right now and why that's important to our members.
Well, it's very important because when I was the president of the association there in Balcones Heights, I was there for several years.
Scoot in a little bit. They can only see half the man you are.
Oh, okay.
And move that mic up next to your chin. I like it to tickle your beard. There you go. Okay. Now we can hear you and we can see you.
Kuchi.
All right.
So like I said, being a president for several years there in Balcones Heights, 18 years, that was my tenure there. And we had a good rapport. We were well known through the community. So anytime we had any type of functions or we started something, the community themselves would reach out to us. We didn't really have to go out and reach out the community. They were, one of our biggest events was Blue Santa.
Yep.
So, we would do a parade and little stuff. When we started that program, just a little history, we gave out toys to our residents, to our youth from the trunks of police cars. When we left, we had over 300 and some odd kids that we were giving toys to.
Yeah.
And it spread outside of our community. So that's how well known our association, was known out in the community, that it reached outside. So our communication was very good with our leaders, speaking with the mayor, the city council, city managers. Now, every once in a while, of course, we're not all going to always see eye to eye, but we had that open rapport where we can sit down and talk and discuss and come to maybe a mutual agreement, or hey, let's find a midpoint. The other thing is we always had a good rapport with the chief, and even to this day, the association has a good rapport with the chief. Where if they have an issue or a problem, or they don't see like, hey, you know what, is there a way that we can work things out? They sit down and they discuss it. So as of May of this past year, they had an elections. The city has been going through some ups and downs, economically wise. And so they had an election, and this new mayor got elected, Johnny Rodriguez.
Johnny Rodriguez.
Yes.
That sounds like an outlaw name.
Yeah.
Great singer. He had some great songs back in the day.
It sounds like some Tombstone shit.
Yeah,
pretty much. The Red Scarf Crew or whatever?
Yeah, it was. They were the Cowboys.
Ringo.
The Ringo.
The old Ringo.
Ringo.
We got to nickname him that.
Yeah. So as soon as he came into office, it was leading by an iron fist. Mm-hmm. Just in a few months that he's been in office, there has been letters of no confidence on him.
Yep.
Employees have come on open forums and discussed how. Go ahead.
And when you say employees, we're not just talking about police department.
Oh no.
In fact, we're going to show you a clip real quick of a municipal court clerk that just recently spoke before the city council. She didn't give a vote of no confidence, but she certainly gave you at least the climate and the temperature of what it feels like to work inside the inside City Hall upon his entry. So we're gonna show you that clip real quick, and then we're gonna fade back in.
We have one person that has signed up, Michelle Marin, employee statement.
Sorry, I'm probably a little bit nervous. You probably hear my heart beating. Good evening, council, administration, citizens, employees, and guests. I'm standing here tonight because it is my responsibility to bring to light a profoundly serious situation we as the employees of Balcones Heights have been experiencing. I started working here almost 2.5 years ago, and in all that time, I have never felt an ounce of unwelcomeness. You could ask 90% of the employees, and they will testify that there is almost always a greeting between us. Almost everyone that walks in the door of the Justice Center, whether it be employees, council members, ex-council members, or customers looking for a department within the building, there is always a friendly greeting. The court employees are the first faces seen when walking through the doors, so we try to make it friendly. Do we drop the ball sometimes? Yes, we do. We get distracted. We may not look up if we're working on something, or we miss the mark, but we try. When I first started, I was new and nervous and didn't know anyone, but my uneasiness faded very quickly. I started meeting council members and employees, and immediately we were exchanging greetings through the window. Within days of being elected as mayor, Mr. Rodriguez entered the building and introduced himself to us as we did the same. It wasn't unpleasant, genuine, I could not say. That interaction with Mr. Rodriguez was short-lived, however. For us, and by us, I mean the employees that work on the first floor, we all discussed and agreed that the feeling of uncomfortableness with Mr. Rodriguez started right after the first couple of council meetings. I can speculate why this is, but I'm sure it'd only be met with answered with a denial. Yvonne, Mika, Rose, and I were approached in or around August by Mr. Perales, the previous city administrator, that Mayor Rodriguez had told him to tell the court employees that we need to greet him when he, Mr. Rodriguez, walks into the building. Mr. Perales said that we were to say hello, hi, wave, or anything that acknowledges him. We explained to Mr. Perales that we felt as if we had been acknowledging him all along, but apparently Mr. Rodriguez did not feel it was to his standards. We agreed to comply with Mr. Perales's request nonetheless. Whether this conversation between Mr. Perales and Mr. Rodriguez occurred, I don't know. On several occasions following that conversation, we have acknowledged Mr. Rodriguez. He never reciprocates. We have all experienced this personally. After the incident that occurred in the court office on September 11, 2024, several letters of grievance were written regarding it. I'm sure almost everyone knows about the letters because they were published online. As employees, we were voicing concerns, as is our right per the Balcones Heights Personnel Handbook, over an incident that we were forced to bear witness to. I say forced because we were in our office and this incident occurred at our entrance door during court business hours. In my professional opinion, this incident should have taken place in the privacy of an office, outside the presence of other employees and potential customers who could have walked in at any given time. I myself was a business manager for a Catholic church. Albeit I only had about 4 employees that I managed, we respected each other. If an issue was with an employee, I made sure to address that problem behind closed doors. I did this out of respect for the employee and the employees that the issue did not concern. I never embarrassed or berated the employees, as that is most unprofessional. I speak for myself when I say the letter I wrote was out of concern for the way in which Mr. Rodriguez managed that situation. In my professional opinion, it is unbecoming of any person who holds a seat on this council. As elected officials, you are all held to higher standards. You should be the example which we as employees look up to. How you act and treat others is the example by which you lay out for us to heed. The letter I wrote was not personal. It was business. I don't know Mr. Rodriguez on a personal level. I don't know him outside of these walls. And if I could be so bold, I wouldn't want to associate with a person who acts and treats others the way I have witnessed and personally experienced him do. I wrote the letter as a legitimate concern as an employee with the expectation that it would be addressed, corrected, or explained as maybe a misunderstanding that we could all learn from and move forward. That was it. Unfortunately, I feel that after the release of the grievance letters, Mr. Rodriguez has exhibited much animosity towards the employees whose names are written in those letters. How do I know, you may ask? This is a small place of business. We are coworkers who support each other and express our concerns to our fellow coworkers when we need a shoulder to lean on. Since those letters were published, Mr. Rodriguez now comes into the Justice Center, and when we greet him, his response is usually along the lines of "open the door," referring to the door to get into the back offices. There is never a reciprocation of the greeting. The occasional "thank you" is always in a firm tone, which personally doesn't sound genuine to me, more like a formality because someone did something for you. It has come to the point that I personally feel uncomfortable and emasculated by Mr. Rodriguez. His face shows such disdain and disgust for us every time he comes to our window. He looks at me or Mika with such an intimidating, unfriendly facial expression that I honestly no longer feel comfortable to even look him in his eyes. In my personal opinion, it is as if he demanded the greeting only to be in a position to disregard it, as if we are lowly employees who need to acknowledge him while he, as our superior, does not need to reciprocate or acknowledge our presence. The following example solidified this reasoning in my head. On Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, representatives, I believe from BearMet, arrived to deliver chairs for dispatch. He greeted them with huge smile on his face, hellos and handshakes all around. I can honestly say that was probably the first time I saw Mr. Rodriguez greet someone in this building with a smile and a hello. On the same day, he appeared again a few hours later with another businessman waiting for the elevator. He did not look at us. Suddenly, he was at my front window. It alarmed me because I had my head down working on some documents. He never said a word, grabbed his business cards, which he had Mr. Latta place on our counters, and proceeded to move them to a table between my counter and my coworker's counter. When I looked up, he never made eye contact with me, but I remember his face. A scowl and a look of what felt to me like anger, maybe even hatred. I just remember feeling so uncomfortable I dared not say a word to him. No other person on this council, new or old, has ever given me that feeling. Every other person has been kind or nice or both. But most importantly, you've been respectful. And I want to thank you for that. It may not seem like much to you, but it means a lot to us. Last Thursday, November 14th, an incident occurred that even today has me shaken. It has been reported and filed. And just to be clear, for the record, it was an incident that occurred with Mr. Rodriguez and myself during working hours. The incident involved the opening of a door to the back offices. The interaction that occurred with Mr. Rodriguez left me dumbfounded and shocked to me to my core. It took me a second to even realize that I still had a customer in front of me. After I finished assisting my customers, I could feel my eyes watering. I tell you, gentlemen, I do not have high blood pressure. But if you had taken my pressure that day, it would have been dangerously high. I had to cry on my coworkers' shoulders, and they were wonderful in helping me calm me down. Rose kept telling me, "I have never seen you this way. You always tell us not to let him rob us of our peace." I have hoped for the best since the mayor took office and have tried to lift my coworkers' spirits, but this one really knocked me down. It is not for me to know why Mr. Rodriguez does not have a badge to enter certain parts of the building without an escort. However, it is also not my or any employee's responsibility to be at his beck and call when he wants access. We all have a job with job duties, which include putting the customer above all other duties. I will graciously open the door for him as I do for any other employee or customer needing to gain access to the back, but not at the expense of being reprimanded for the nature in which I do so. I open the door the same for everyone, and no one has confronted me or voiced a concern about the way in which I do so. I feel this was just another way for Mr. Rodriguez to exert power over me and emasculate me. The definition of a bully is a person who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. The definition of harassment is to create an unpleasant or hostile situation. This is what I am experiencing from Mr. Rodriguez. I feel as though I am being bullied and harassed by him every time he comes to the office. He consistently speaks to us in an unfriendly manner or stares at us to the point that I look down as I do not want to make eye contact. This is starting to cause mental and physical anguish every time he walks in the building. Mika has admitted to me that she feels the same. Our workplace environment is normally 90% enjoyable. Everyone who seeks assistance in the building appears courteous and respectful to each other, or at least to us in the court. But when Mr. Rodriguez walks into the building, everyone is on edge. Is this his intent? To make us feel inferior? To have us lower our eyes out of fear? Is he trying to exert that feeling? Is he the type of man who wants people to fear him instead of respecting him? Maybe, or maybe not.
Excuse me.
He rules with
We've
fear
already-
nonetheless.
Excuse me. We've already
can-
gone over the 3-minute rule. I've actually gone a little bit more.
I can only
You
express
almost- Are you
my,
almost done? Because I'll allow you to speak a lot more if you like. But we're really over the limit.
I can only express my feelings, but if you were to ask the employees next to me, they will tell you they feel the same. What happens in this room during council meetings is not the employee's fault. We have no control over the decisions made by a vote. We were told that writing those letters would not be met with retaliation or retribution. I beg to differ. That is exactly what we are experiencing, retaliation and retribution for voicing a concern.
So as you can see from that clip, that this is not just affecting the police department.
Yeah.
It's affecting the employment, the whole
morale of the whole
whole
city.
morale of the city.
Yep.
You know, I've just recently been present at 2 city council meetings where it literally is a joke.
Yeah.
He tries to demise his own city council.
Yeah.
You know, and then he has that, because he's that elected official, he kicks people out and kicks council members out of the meeting.
So Clint hasn't seen some of the videos, but it's very similar. And the only reason I know this, and I know people think I'm not exactly the smartest man in the room some days. I know it's shocking for some, but I didn't know about Robert's Rules of Order until attending the Texas FOP meeting, and I didn't want to say raise my hand and say, what the hell is Robert's Rules? And so I looked it up, and so I kind of began learning that, because we didn't do that on the local level.
Right.
They run theirs by that, and I then found out that not all city councils do it the same way.
No.
And they run it by Robert's Rules of Order. And so during this commission meeting, and we'll show a clip of that, one of the council members is calling for, the order? He's point of order, okay? And he's not being recognized by the mayor, and it creates this event, and the mayor gets upset and throws out one of the council members. And so it's probably a quarter of the way through, and so then the remaining agenda items, which one of the agenda items happened to be a vote of no confidence by the POA leadership. And we're going to talk about that and highlight those guys and men and women. But it's just really interesting how they don't recognize each other. And he was trying to kind of go about it the right way, but the mayor didn't like it.
Yeah, and the problem with city councils traditionally is you have some nut within your city that, does whatever Monday through Friday, and somehow they get elected, and they become so intoxicated on power.
Yep.
We see it all the time. We see it in Texas City.
We see it a lot
The
with
guys are
sheriffs.
absolutely corrupt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a sheriff in North Texas right now. It's refusing to give ID cards to honorably retired officers. He said he's just not going to follow the law, apparently.
Northeast?
Somewhere very close to Forney, where Forney resides.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you meant like maybe deep East Texas by Shreveport.
But you have people that are completely incompetent, get a little bit of power or perceived power, and they become so drunk on that power that they lose their mind. And people think, well, they got elected, they must know what they're doing, or they must, have a background in this. Half these people, they're unemployed, or there's no telling what they do before they get in this position of some sort of authority, and it's a train wreck. And the problem is, like you're talking about, it's not just affecting the police. The mayor, the city manager are both kind of the co-leaders of a city, which is a corporation. You can script the whole company, the whole city or the whole county with failed leadership, and we see it over and over again. And elections have consequences.
I think that it's sad because we as a society right now, more than ever, I think, are in need for leadership at the government level, whether that be city, county, state, or federal. And then these yahoos, some of them get elected, and it creates this, just like you said, it creates a very bad, toxic environment. And and the reality is that it only affects the ones that voted for these morons, for the negative cities that this is impacting, right? Not all cities and counties are bad, and not all elected officials are bad. So we've certainly got some good friends, and there's certainly great leaders out there that have been elected to the correct offices. But on occasion, as we're seeing in Balcones Heights, you get let's just call it what it is, a yahoo or a moron or an idiot that gets elected, and now they're stuck with it. And now the city's stuck with it, and the city can't move on with different agenda items on city council. And so we're trying to navigate through that.
I have hope, though. This election
Yes.
gave me hope that people are tired of idiots.
Amen.
They're tired of social experiments. They're tired of morons trying something crazy and off the wall. Is mayor, is this his first term, or has he been there a bit?
No, so a little history is it's kind of funny because not funny because of course they're dealing with it right now, but he was a mayor before, and during his tenure there as a mayor, he did the same thing. But I think a lot of people that go out and vote, some vote because of the name that's been there in that city for so many years that it's like, oh yeah, I know so-and-so, so yeah, it's a good,
Johnny Ringo.
But
Johnny
when somebody's
Ringo.
horrible and you reelect them, it's like marrying your ex-wife. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I was gonna mention is a lot of other people is like, man, well, you know what? I want to change. So you know what? Let's try this guy. And it's like, no, a lot of people need to do their due diligence on finding out what kind of person this guy is and what kind of leader. And I will tell you, because been there, dealt with him, is he is not for law enforcement.
No.
I will tell you that, okay? He has come across where he wants to fire the chief. He wants to fire all admin. He wants to,
let's just clear that up real quick too. If that were the correct thing to do, the right thing to do, we'd be all for it.
Absolutely. No,
Well,
you're
it's not.
absolutely right.
I mean, you can clearly see that public safety, the fire chief, the police chief, the city attorney, they all get along. I mean, it's literally kumbaya, and then the mayor comes in and just train wrecks everything. Like a Katy Perry song. She's a wrecking ball.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
He liked how I was sick.
Man, that was nice.
I like that. Take little lessons on that.
I was expecting
it's
to turn
not
a punch bowl.
I thought it was more of a.
Not that I listen to Katy Perry all the time. I mean, only when I'm in the shower.
Oh God.
What? Oh well, shit.
Yeah.
I tried.
I thought you were going to say Tay Tay, but okay.
No.
All right.
No. Wrecking Ball's not Katy Perry. Oh, Miley Cyrus. Same thing. Same genre.
Same John. The other thing too is that where this also affects the employees and law enforcement, the police department there in Balcones Heights is, as it is, Balcones Heights is not an easy city to work at. Okay, yeah, it may be small, but I will tell you, you are a cop there. And then for officers not only to have that stress of working, shorthanded, at a certain pay scale, and then for you to be worrying about, man, my elected official, my leader in this city doesn't even have my back.
It's on the southeast side of San Antonio, right?
No, it's actually right in the dead center of it. I know for our viewers, I call it the butthole of San Antonio because it's right there where I-10 and 410 meet.
And just to kind of give you for the listener or the viewer out there that's watching or listening, is the average income of Balcones Heights is probably average household is probably 35 to 40,000 currently. Heavily populated apartments,
right?
Blue collar, type community, but there's a lot of crime. Lots and lots and lots of crime.
Lots of crime.
Just to kind of paint that picture.
Yes, and like I said,
They have a Target though.
they have a big target. Yeah,
Target.
Target.
It's the proper, nicer version. It's like the Dillards of the hood.
Excuse-moi.
It's the Dillards of the hood.
Pretty much. So for us, and I say us because I was there, to put on that badge, to put on that vest every single day, work 12-hour shifts, and trust me, it's not a 12-hour shift and then you finish and you go home. It's probably a good 14 to 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Okay. You go from one high call to another high call.
Yeah.
And then for the leaders that you kind of are looking up to for them to take care of you, don't. That causes a big, huge problem.
Yeah, well, so the current situation is that the mayor is toxic, and you are working with Balcones Heights POA to try to get that resolved and try to basically expose some of the problems and things that he's felt on in the past, and kind of expose who he is as a person.
Absolutely.
And so that goes back, and that's why we wanted to bring you on today to talk about, what field reps do. And I mean, we're going from legal calls on Monday or Tuesday to, battling a mayor at a municipality, to the next day battling with a sheriff that's not giving. So this job is so interesting. But a lot of people, a lot of members don't really realize what our field reps do. And so we're not going to give our battle plan, but just talk about, I was so proud to see the POA leadership speak at the city council meeting. And just for the listener out there that, if you don't have a relationship with your local field rep, I highly encourage you to get on the website, look at what region you're at, reach out to Clint, me, via bluegrid at tmpa.org, and find out who your field rep is. But man, we love to do that kind of stuff. We love to be, the in-between of kind of like, or you call and, bounce an idea off of you. But they called and bounced this idea off of you after they've already written out what they were going to read at the POA or at the city council meeting. And so I was proud to see that, because sometimes we don't see that often. Usually they'll call, hey, we're kind of thinking about this, and we kind of navigate through it together. So it was comforting to see that a local POA took the time and took the initiative to go ahead and write this out, and they knew what they needed to do head on, and just for you to be there to support them.
So the guys, I will tell you, the guys kept me pretty much in the loop in the beginning. I actually was very surprised, but very honored to know that, hey, man, you know what? We're going to do this.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold back. And I'm like, you know what? Do what you got to do. I think it'll send out a message. And hopefully maybe that message can do something and redirect our leaders to a certain path.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not going. And back to what you say about field reps, I have a lot of associations in my region that the chiefs are they're very open to associations.
Well, they're pro associations in the sense they have open discussions and open door policies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw a couple of shout outs out there too, like the Bernie chief. Yeah. You've met him. Chief Perez, also Chief Lane from Converse.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets involved with this association.
But that's also a really good indicator, probably. And I don't know either one of those gentlemen, but it's also a good indicator of somebody that's probably a good leader, or they're comfortable. Well, was a tough word to get out this morning.
Yeah. It's okay. You haven't had your coffee there.
They're comfortable and confident enough that. Because we'll see somebody come in as a chief, and I've seen it in a few places lately where you don't need an association. You're not going to have an association here. Well, if somebody's that afraid of an association, you better hang on to your britches, because there's a screw-in coming.
Yep.
They're afraid of something. They're up to something.
Just like we see in Galveston.
Or they're tipping their hat to what their MO is. If they're that afraid of an association, you got problems.
I was trying to look it up without getting caught on camera. That I was on my phone. Chief in Galveston is oh shit, I can't think of it right now. But he is prior, police leadership,
POA,
within the POA leadership. So is Perez. And so you start in our profession, in our experience, you see the ones that really know how to lead the men and lead the women typically have association leadership experience.
Galveston Chief's a great example.
Great, yep.
So going back to Balcones Heights, the current chief, Chief Johanara, he was also on the board.
Common spelling?
Sort of, kind of, yes. But he was also on the board. Yeah. So he knows, the intentions. And a lot of people, I guess, have the misconception of the association being us against them or them against us. And it has nothing to do with that. Right. It's about, joining forces and making the work environment better for the officers to want to continue to work and be proud for where they work at.
Yeah.
We talk about in the whole state of Texas about, recruitment and retention. Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of retention is when you have good leaders and they have an open door policy where, hey, you know what? The association wants to speak. And the thing about it is you have one representative, which is your president or your board, that is speaking for everybody else. It's not just one guy coming and bitching for the most part.
And people generally don't leave bad jobs. They leave bad culture or bad leaders.
And bad leaders.
We look at Sunnyvale. We look at there's El Paso, ISD, PD. We look at all these places. It's not a reflection of the job or the pay generally. It's a reflection of the leadership or the culture.
Well, and I think it's a good point to segue into is that you've got a lot of young leadership within your local associations in the region that you serve. Hence why you developed and which has been done across the state to a degree, but you've got a regional meeting coming up with all the local regional POAs, and talk about the reason why you thought it's needed, and talk about what you plan on discussing that if any local POA leadership's looking at, watching this podcast or listening that will maybe want to do the same thing in their region. Talk about what was the need for that.
Well, I think we kind of hit a little bit on it is the whole misconception. What I want to do is I want other departments to know that the misconception is it's not a battle about us against them or them against us. It's about coming together and making as it is, our job is hard. And if you can talk and work together to make it better for people and officers to stay, yeah, I think that's a primary thing. The other thing too is the association is about giving back to the community as a group. And there are some that, are way above. They go above and beyond to give back to the community. But again, it needs the help of the city to help them give back. A lot of cities, which some of the leaders that are right now in Balcones Heights, they're all like, oh, well, they're just crybabies. They're always wanting more. They're always wanting more pay. They're always wanting more this, more that, more this. And then when they do have something that they want to give back to the community, they're not there. Oh, well, that's their thing,
And it goes back to a culture thing. And on the way down here this morning, I had 3 hours and 12 minutes of nothing. So I listened to Joe Rogan, most recent episode with Theo Vaughn, and they spent about 15 minutes talking about the police, in that people better get behind the police again. Nobody wants to be a cop again.
Yep.
The cops have gotten a raw deal for way too long. The George Floyd riots was there's so much
a shit show.
There's so much to all of it. And to hear Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, who were liberals a few years ago, till they realized that the culture behind that. But it all goes back to, and I don't mean any disrespect to any other department within the cities, street department, parks department, fire department, what other departments in cities. But all these, hearing these city leaders and these cops are whining and all that, maybe. But I'll tell you, people don't move to Balcones Heights, or people don't move to Forney or Garland or Carrollton because they have a really good parks department.
Nope.
Or we heard that they have the nicest fire trucks, or that their street department really knows how to patch potholes. They're doing a really good. That's not why Elon Musk moved to Texas. There's all these things behind it. It's because we make communities safer.
Absolutely.
Through professional law enforcement, taking care of people, no matter race, creed, color, whatever, every day. And it's not because of all the other crap that mainstream media wants you to believe, or some incompetent local leader. Well, they're just whining and crying. That's fine. But I can tell you that having a professional police department that you support only helps your city.
Absolutely.
You're going to get business. Everything's going to improve in this city.
And I will tell you that the businesses there in Balcones Heights, that's one of the reasons why they don't leave, is because when they need the police, they're there within minutes. And I'm talking seriously, and within minutes. The other thing too is the relationship that we have with our businesses. We would have what we would call business checks. Hey, every day you go to a different business and you go and say hi, introduce yourself, and make sure that they know you on a first name basis.
Nice.
I still go. I haven't worked the streets in Balcones Heights in 3 years. I still can go to any business there. Hey, Joey, how you doing, man? How have you been? Haven't seen you in a while.
Kind of got shot. I mean,
Well, yeah, there is a couple of things on that, but and even okay, bringing that incident. Hey man,
Yeah.
how you doing? How you feeling? It doesn't go a week does not go by where even some of the business and some of the residents still call me on my personal cell phone. Hey, how you doing, Joey? How's everything? Hey man, we miss you.
That's cool.
But back to your point, though, I think that society as a whole, we had this big quote unquote community policing push. You can call it whatever the hell you want to. We've been doing that shit since the beginning. So, and it goes back to whenever your incident happened was before George Floyd. It's just, I don't know. Well, was it before George Floyd?
No, it was right. It was after.
But
I think it was.
Back to my point is that we've been doing that shit since the beginning of time, since the beginning of police work. And so it's all about, it was called something different or whatever the hell it was called then. I'm not sure, but
it's always been done. My dad started Dallas PD in 67. He went to robberies in 71. And they were chasing some hijackers around Dallas, never could catch them. He goes upstairs one day, and the legendary Captain Fritz, Dallas PD Captain Fritz, is like, hey, what are y'all doing? They said, we've got these hijackers, and, it's these two black guys and red Cadillac. And, well, that's going to be the Smith brothers. Dad's like, what? I don't know. Hell, we can't figure out who they are. We've been running around chasing these two guys. Captain Fritz goes over to a phone. Miss Smith, Captain Fritz. Yes, ma'am, your boys are up to no good again. Yes, ma'am, you can bring them on down here. That way I don't have to send my dogs out there to hunt them down. Dad's like, son of a bitch, we've been looking for those guys for freaking weeks, beating the bushes. And Captain Fritz knew the community. He picks phone up. Mom drives him up there and gives them to Dad. He's like, and I'm thinking, what's freaking community policing in 1971 when Captain Fritz knows who they are and knows their mama and can pick the phone up and call them? And they trusted the police enough for Mama to drive up there and turn her kids in. Yeah, that's community policing from 1971.
So I would tell you that. I mean, nothing, not quite like that. But I got a call when I'm on the streets, and it's like, hey, my kid, he's being who, blah blah blah, and the only one he'll listen to is you. You cool, had one conversation with him one time. I treated him. I treated him
with respect.
With respect. One day I took him just giving him a tour of the PD, and I'm like, wow. Even after my incident, I get a Facebook post or a message, and said, "Man, I remember you. You're the one that turned my life around from, you caught me with some dope and this and that, and you
shared it with me."
But I'm like, wow, those are the things that make my job
cool,
and my career what and why we did what we are doing. It's that's amazing.
People have no clue how many, and that's just one person that you've touched.
Whoa.
There's no telling. Sorry about that.
Lives.
One person's life that you affected. There's no telling how many times you did that and don't know about it, and then you magnify that by 800,000 cops in America. That's the story people need to hear.
Absolutely.
Well,
so I know we got off track a little bit.
No, we didn't. I think we're fine. We're going to start something new though to kind of segue into something funny. I think it's a great thing. We highlight the situation out west. Is we're not sure what the hell we're going to call it, but just stupid things that we deal with in our profession going across.
We're trying to think of a good name for it, the Donut Hole of the Week Award or something. But I was going to talk 2 minutes about El Paso ISD PD. So El Paso ISD PD's been having issues for a while. We started looking into it, and we talk on here a lot about leadership, or probably more importantly, poor leadership.
Right.
And the best example for young people to watch how to become a leader is to watch poor leadership and learn all the ways what not to do. But we're trying to put a finger on all these issues at El Paso ISD PD, and we do a bunch of open records requests, and we got some records in this week. And they can't seem to solve the equation of what the problems are, and it all points to the leadership. So we get these records back this week, and their police chief was appointed in
2019.
2019.
Yep.
have the offer letter. His acceptance of he's going to be the Grand Poobah chief there. And then I get his TCOL records, and he went to the Basic Police Officers Academy in 2020. So
never been a cop.
Nope. So he accepted a police chief job. Didn't know how to be a police officer. May not have known how to spell a police officer, but he accepted the job. And then he went to the police academy a year later to learn how to become a police officer so that he could become a police chief. And they can't figure out why they have problems.
At like one of the largest cities in Texas.
Yep.
That's a big department.
Yeah, and their school district's pretty
But-
friggin' massive.
but you
and
know
of
what, Clint?
consequence, being right on the border, a lot of issues they face, you need a freaking leader.
Yep.
And they can't seem to solve the riddle of what their problem is.
But I'm going to tell you, this is one of the big issues that we have is that we have like what I'm having here is a mayor who wants to control the city manager, who then wants to control the police chief, the fire chief, and everybody. So he wants to get and clean out house so he can bring in his people.
Hey.
And that's what happens across Texas. It's like this guy's not a leader. He doesn't know how to run a police department because he's never been a cop. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He's my friend, and he's going to do what I want him to do.
Yep.
So let me put him in that position.
Hey, I was a product of that. I ain't gonna shy away from it with the sheriff's office. I was a good friend of a friend of a friend. I think he utilized my position within Tmpa, my political clout. I was a field rep, being a union guy, for the most part.
Damn, that never helped. That never helped me.
And so I saw the lack of leadership that he brought after he became who he was, and it just went to his head, and that's why I'm here at Tmpa now. So,
Yeah,
the shit goes full circle.
But I think that's a big, huge problem and an issue that we have. Same thing with even our like even sergeants, lieutenants, and captains is, oh well, he's a friend, or man, you know what, we go drinking together, or we have parties together, or man, he knows a little bit too much about me, so I better keep him closer.
Right.
Let me give him a position so he can, but they're not leaders.
Right.
No.
Leaders.
Well, just because you get elected mayor doesn't mean suddenly overnight you became a leader.
That's exactly right.
You got a title doesn't necessarily mean you could lead somebody out of war.
The mayor now, he has history. He has history in other cities that he's worked for, and they all say the same thing. This is the same pattern and same thing that he's done in other departments or
There's some
cities.
questionable things that were done in Floresville. He was the EDC in Floresville, and there's speculation there. I'm not saying that he did it, not saying that he wasn't found guilty of it, but I'm going to call it what it is and say that there was speculation that there were some funds that were, misused, and so then during the tracing of those funds, he resigned from said position, and then suddenly became the mayor at Balcones Heights after the election. So
sounds weirdly like a gentleman that left the El Paso area to become a chief and marshal.
yes,
There was funds allegedly
Jesus
missing,
Tmpa.
and he mysteriously had to flee El Paso in the night to become the chief and marshal.
Yeah, those were fun times in Marshall, for sure.
Yep.
But
Hey, comment down below what our weekly award needs to be: donut hole, dingleberry of the week, or whatever.
I like it.
Comment down below. Let us know what we need. We'll hit one problem child in one problem area a week.
Why don't we call it the Johnny Rodriguez, the Balcones Heights Johnny Rodriguez Award?
The Johnny Ringo Award.
Johnny
But Johnny
Ringo.
Rodriguez was a great singer in the 70s in Texas.
Really?
I wasn't even born yet. I don't even know.
Yep,
who
Johnny Rodriguez. He's
I'll have to
back
look
from
him up.
like the
71.
Freddie Fender area.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Parker likes Freddie
Oh,
Fender.
I know Freddie Fender.
Well, hey, come back on here probably next couple months and give us an update on Balcones Heights and kind of let us
Absolutely.
know what's going on there.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see.
And you're doing a Bexar County area?
It's a Bexar County Hill Country kind of region association mixer. It's a meeting, leadership meeting. Mr. Tyler Owen's going to be there. Kevin Lawrence will also be there.
I just told you the other day it's Kevin Lawrence.
Oh, Kevin
Depending on
Lawrence.
what kind of crowd he's in to make it seem more proper.
More proper. His,
Kevin Lawrence.
Lawrence. It's Lawrence.
And I kind of like Sepulveda.
No,
So we've done, that'll be a Bexar County Hill Country area. Tony Reich did a Collin County area POA meeting. David Kurlowitz did a Wilco area.
Austin
Wilco area.
Layton did a Harris County that went over really well, had a ton of Harris County agencies there. I think it's our conference every year. I always preach is a great opportunity to network. It's gotten so big. We have like 5 to 550 there now. Sometimes it's kind of hard to network.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area of some of these area meetings, man, I think it's an awesome way. And I'll use Collin County as an example. You have McKinney, Allen, Frisco, a bunch of agencies there.
Salina, all those.
Yeah. They all have issues. They may be different issues, but every department has an issue.
Absolutely.
And at some point, the issue I'm facing isn't what he's facing now, but it may be at some point. So if we can sit down and break bread and figure out, hey, man, how'd y'all navigate through that horrible mayor incident? How'd y'all navigate that? Or how did you guys, get through having to go through a new chief? It's a great way to learn.
So I got 2 departments in my area that I'm dealing with, the mayors of municipalities.
And it's more common. Sometimes dealing with freaking horrible mayors is more common than dealing with a bad chief.
And the other one's the same thing almost in Converse. It's the Converse mayor. I'll call it what it is. I don't care.
Right.
It's the Converse mayor. It's
Right.
the tyrant leader. It's the tyrant leadership style
Right.
that Balcones Heights is facing. But there might be some criminal aspects on it, so we can't talk too much about
the
it.
beautiful thing that's cracking me up right now is we have Balcones, Converse, we have Texas City. I'm dealing with Sunnyvale, El Paso ISD PD. The freaking funny thing about it is all these, in every one of these places, I guarantee you, I don't know the issues there, every one of these leaders preach transparency.
Oh, God.
I'm transparency. Yeah. But in 2 of them, there's speculation about how they're handling their personal business. So I'm asking for their phone records. And they are fighting like hell to make sure nobody sees their text messages. And it's funny, the hypocrisy of somebody preaching all the time transparency sure doesn't want anybody to see what they might be, who and what they might be text messaging.
Well, side pieces.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this.
Cartoon.
I'll say this.
Chip.
Janet the other day, she said, a person who cannot control their own house cannot control a leadership or be at least respected in a leadership position. And if you think about it, it's pretty damn accurate. You know?
Yeah. A lot of people whose
For the most
personal
part.
lives are a mess, their professional lives a mess, or vice versa.
Yep. So it's always kind of common.
So back to what you were saying, Clint, the reason of these regional association meetings is for that purpose. And I'm just going to say it out there for the listeners in my area. If you're in a police department that doesn't have an association but are thinking about it, you're more than welcome. Give me a call. You know how to get a hold of me. Call Tyler, call Clint.
Yeah.
And you want to come to the meeting so you could see how it is, what's it all about. There is no cost. There is nothing. All I want is for the departments to unite and come together. And if there's any issues that I can or Tmpa can help out, that's what we're there for. And that's our primary job.
Joey said he got the idea because he's watching Braveheart. And the minute that all the Scotland villages came together and united, he wanted to wear their shields of honor.
And
then,
then
I can have one of those.
Is that the part where they all bend over and hold their kilt up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Meeting of the minds. Meeting of the minds. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's great seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you
welcome
for
back
having me.
anytime. Anytime. You got anything else?
No. He's done the pop quiz.
He has done the pop.
He's done the pop quiz, so I'll throw another one at you. Being as how old are you now?
Oh, geez, do I have to say that on the air?
38.
Oh, yeah,
So
25.
What would 38-year-old Joey Sepulveda say to 16-year-old Joey Sepulveda if he could?
You dumbass, you should have stayed in school.
Yeah. I could hear Clint McNear saying that to young Clint McNear. Yeah.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, at 16, there was not much of thought of future, thoughts. I was more.
So what would you tell that kid now, knowing
sports.
what you know?
That life is not going to be easy, and that I would never have ever thought of me being and getting involved with multiple agencies. So you better start getting to know what you're talking about early.
Yeah.
And some of our youth, my stepson,
Utes. Did you
my-
say
your
Utes?
Our Utes. You know, every youth goes through ups and downs and trials and tribulations, and for the most part, this kid is just super smart. He has a goal that he sets, and he accomplishes it. And I think that's where me as a young adult, I had envisions of goals, but I wasn't really focused on, hey, how am I going to accomplish it? I'll just let life kind of go. James, right now, he is 24, 25. He graduated from college. He has his own job. He's a personal trainer. I mean, this guy is just a brick house. He got into boxing. He had his first MMA match two weeks ago.
Yes.
He did awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And just to see this kid grow from a scrawny little kid that, you know, didn't know shit about Shinola, about football. When I met him, we were wrestling on the ground, and I told him, I said, you're going to have people your age, my weight, doing this shit to you. Mm-hmm. And for him to just say, you know what, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to take it. Summer, he went, worked out, started lifting, and look at him now.
Yeah.
I mean, just a great kid. And
You don't see that much out them with this generation.
No.
Yeah.
No. And that's
Definitely testament to that.
And so that's like I said, if I could go back in time, and I would want to have James's mentality and James's focus on his goals.
That's cool. For a stepdad to recognize that about his stepson, that's pretty honorable.
No, he's an amazing little kid. I mean, every once in a while, he needs to get his ass kicked. But, you know, I may be 53, James, but I'll kick your ass one way or another. I cheat.
That's awesome. Well, hey, we're going to give you guys an update here in the next couple of weeks about the Hill Country Regional POA leadership meeting we got going on, and then also keep you guys updated about Balcones Heights and the toxic leadership that's going on there. And Texas City still kind of a train wreck. There's some hope. We'll see kind of what that looks like. But, yeah, man, it's just blowing and going. You got anything else, Big Dog?
Texas FOP Spring Board meeting is in Wichita Falls, April 11 through 13 at Delta Marriott. Really, really pretty, nice, very nice, brand new hotel in Wichita Falls. April 11th through 13th. We have Tmpa, Texas Peace Officer Memorial, April 27th or 8th, that Sunday.
Yes. 28.
That's all I got.
Cool. Well, I don't have anything else. So,
Clint, it's always
You do?
What? Oh.
What? You're going to Garland for...
Oh, yeah, shout out to the Wimberley Lady Texan volleyball team that they are going to state this Friday. So when this episode drops, hopefully they will be the champions of 4A D2. Great experience to see those young ladies and talk about youth. You know, people ask me all the time, why did we pick that community to move to? We had to move to Austin, and so we went to Round Rock, Georgetown. We settled into Wimberley, and the other day we had our young football banquet, and so 5 varsity young men came to our youth football banquet, and they wanted to provide the awards to the kids because they wanted to get back. You know, Cody Stover, phenomenal phenom of an athlete, probably all
that's
time
leadership
state.
right there.
Oh, 100%. Ty Thames, Rice commit. You know, Braden Casey's a young bull rider. Tore his ACL third game into the season. He's about 5'2" and $150, built like a brick shit house. And one of the awards that we gave out this year was the Texan Pride Award. And he doesn't have to go to the games, but he's got his torn ACL. Shows up to each practice, stays the entire practice.
That's awesome.
Goes to the game, stays for the entire game. Was there last night at St. Ed's whenever Wimberley took on Salado to go on to the state semifinals. And so the guys just got a lot of pride within them. So, yeah, the community I live in is great. But, yeah, good luck to the Wimberley Texans this Friday. We'll wait
good
to
luck.
see.
Hearing about those young men gives you hope.
Yes.
It does,
A lot
man.
of
Yes.
good,
Really,
young,
well,
bright, like your boy.
and it's confirmation we moved to a great place for my kids to look up to some people within those communities, good Christian-based people. And it's just amazing to see the culture. Ironically, when I came to work for Tmpa and came to move to Wimberley, did not know this, but Mitch Landry, Deputy Executive Director at Tmpa, was roommates with the athletic director, Doug Warren. Doug Warren is a phenomenal man. I'm sure he did not get his characteristics and leadership, style from Mitch. Completely joking. But yeah, they were roommates in college. And so I was at the football field and Doug walked up and had a Tmpa hat on to struck the conversation. No, everything's going good. Wimberley's going good. The rut is on, by the way. I was almost sexually assaulted again the other day by a big buck. So yeah.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
saw that. I
Yes.
saw those pictures.
Whoa. Oh, you saw the picture of the buck. Not me
Well-
almost getting assaulted. Yeah. What were you going to say?
One more huge shout out, because I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Listening to Joe Rogan Experience, and Theo Vaughn seriously spend probably 15 minutes talking about support for the police and their disgust of how we were treated for the last 4 or 5 years. I can't tell you. There was a time personally where I thought I may never hear anybody say something like that again. And to hear Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn spend a significant chunk of a portion of their episode talking about the police and their support for it, I can't think of that.
I'll be
That
sure
is-
to tell them that you said that.
That
Maybe
is the
hang out
coolest
later
thing.
on.
Yeah, when y'all have a beer this evening, tell them I said hi.
God dang, I wish so, man. I wish. But anyway, well, hey, I guess this wraps it up. Again, we'll keep everybody updated on Balcones Heights. Our thoughts and prayers are with the men and women of Balcones Heights, the whole city, all the staff, and the POA for how they've handled everything. And, man, dim the lights, crank the band. Looks like we're fixing to dance.
Some love to our Irving PD family. Lost an officer.
Yes.
Freaking hugely
Yeah.
respected officer, SWAT member, longtime military, got out of the military, been on a short period of time. Somebody pulled out in front of him, hit him on his motorcycle. Irving is crushed. They are devastated. They were telling me the other day he's the guy that would walk into briefing and say, hey, everybody get to freaking frown off your face. We get to be the police and catch bad guys every day, damn it. Everybody quit frowning and have a good time. And they said that was every day when he would come into briefing.
Yeah. Our past president, who's Irving police sergeant, pretty broke up about it. That was one of his troops, and he said he was a phenomenal person. And yeah, I just couldn't imagine. So the brotherhood, the bond that you share, I'm sure it's like this today, but the window-to-window conversations you have in the parking lots of the old Piggly Wigglies and HEBs, and you can't replace those. So our thoughts and prayers with Irving PD. We love you guys, and we're here if you need you. So, we are here if you need us. So, God bless you guys. Take care, and God bless Texas. We are out.